Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. Namaskar. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today I have with me Lieutenant General Ravi Shankar again. Two things, sir. One is, do you see this refugee problem spilling into India? After all, it's only 200 or 300 kilometers in some places between the Afghan border with Pakistan to the Indian border with Pakistan. Do you see that spillover? And the second is, where is India in all these things? India did a few things in Afghanistan. What do you think India's role should be?
Well, first, let me give a little thing. There is Iran also. Iran also shares a large border with Afghanistan. We'll talk of Iran and then I'll get back to India. Now, Iran, is a Shia country. Taliban is Sunni. So there is a play going on there also that Iran doesn't want Taliban to be fully in control of Afghanistan. Right? Otherwise, they'll have the problems. And remember, Iran also has ambitions in the Muslim world. Right? And there's this problem between Shia-Sunni ideology, which Iran fronts for Shias and the Saudis for Sunnis. We know that. So they also have a stake in this. So it is not as if it is only Pakistan. They'll also have a refugee problem. Right? Everything. And remember, Iran gives you the alternate route into Afghanistan other than Pakistan. So Iran becomes an important player. Why I am talking of Iran is, when you say Indian interests go through Iran. Okay. Plus, the Central Asian Republic of Uzbekistan, Tajikistan and Turkmenistan, they also have a border with Afghanistan.
Yes, they do.
Right? And that becomes a soft underbelly of Russia. And the basic problem there is Islamic terrorism. And of course, drugs. Drugs is a common problem. It can go everywhere. It can radiate out 360 degrees. So they are worried about that angle also. Why I am saying so is because in Tajikistan, India has a base, Air Force base, Army base, Armed Forces base. So we have a role to play there. Now, what is Indian interest in this whole thing? India and Afghanistan have enduring interests. If you come to Delhi on Shantipath, which is where all the major embassies of all countries are there, USA, China, Britain, Pakistan, Germany, Australia, all these are on the Shantipath. France. One of the countries which has its embassy on Shantipath is Afghanistan. A huge place. And at that time, the pride of place was given to those countries which India held dear. And Afghanistan is one of them. So we have an enduring interest in Afghanistan. Surprisingly, what I came to know from a resident of Afghanistan, Indian residing in Afghanistan for over 20 years, he's been all around Afghanistan. He says people trust India. They don't trust Pakistanis, they don't trust anyone else. But the kind of trust which Indians have in Afghanistan is phenomenal. It's the highest. Even Taliban trusts India. They might be against us on other issues, but they trust us. That's important. So that trust factor is there. There's a people-to-people connect. Right? As far as refugees are concerned and accepting Afghan refugees, we've been doing it historically. I mean, Delhi is full of them. They have many more methods of coming into India, right? In fact, Abdullah, who was, the vice president, and now he's leading the Afghan national talks, studied in Delhi. A lot of their people have studied in Delhi. We are training the Afghan army. We have been training them for the past 5-6 years, maybe more. Why 5-6 years? About 8 to 10 years now. So we have tremendous links. We have invested in them. We have built a dam, we have built their parliament, we have built their western connectivity from Iran. Zaranj Dilaram is a road which we built. And that was when Taliban were in full flow and controlling that area. Our engineers have gone and built it there. Our army has gone and built it there. So we have tremendous links. We've had great links with the northern part of Afghanistan. Right? And of course, Afghanistan controlled by Taliban, which in turn controlled by Pakistan, is bad for us. right? We are then going back to the time of 90s to 2000, where all kinds of terrorism Pakistan used to do in our soil because they had the strategic depth of Afghanistan. So we have a lot of interests out there, and it is our interest that Afghanistan doesn't go into chaos. We stabilize it, and it is in our interest that there are thinner elements in this entire process. A lot of people say we don't have a stake. I mean, while we have a stake in Afghanistan, we don't have a say left in Afghanistan because we don't share a common border, unlike China, Pakistan, Iran, and all the Central Asian republics. But the way I look at it, today, by not having a stake border with them, we are not going to get affected by them. Yet we use their trust. These two factors give us a lot of leeway to play the middleman, right? One. Number two, USA is out of Afghanistan, will be out of Afghanistan come September. But the fact is that they're still going to support the Afghan National Army. And USA, by stepping out of Afghanistan, now has gone weapons free. It can do what it wants. Till its time it was operating in Afghanistan, there's this business of minimum force and human rights, X, Y, Z, it had to abide by on the battlefield. Not anymore. USA can do what it wants. And now Taliban and all those factions, they have to come out in the open, and they can get targeted. It's not so simple as people believe. It's not as if I don't consider that USA moving out of Afghanistan is a loss to USA. It has got into a different position. India and USA have common interests. We can do a lot. After all, there's a strategic partnership, and we can help each other, right? And that will keep Pakistan and China at bay. Okay, and there are a lot of implications from that issue. I hope I've given you a new perspective.
Yes, absolutely you did. And I think viewers, you need to read between the lines of what General Ravi Shankar is saying here. And if I have to give you a hint, drones. Because America has far more sophisticated drone technology now than like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and so on. So there are things technologically that America can do without having to worry about the fallout, because they don't have boots on the ground in the United States, in Afghanistan, I'm sorry. And but be that as it may, this place never seems to, I'm just thinking about the average Afghan, they seem to never have any respite, sir.
See, if you look back 30 years back, Afghanistan was a peaceful place 30, 40 years back. There was hardly anything, any problem. The problem really started with the Russian invasion into
79,
Afghanistan.
right.
79. And from then onwards, things have gone southwards in terms of peace. You also have to understand something historic about Afghanistan. Afghanistan is not a nation in the true sense which we consider USA or India or Pakistan, even Pakistan or China. It's a people. The Afghans are a people. They could be a state. Yes. Whether it's a Taliban ruled state or someone else ruled state is a different story. But they've never been a nation. They've been a set of tribes. Right? Each tribe independent, and each sub-tribe even more independent, and each individual Afghan very independent, very proud of himself, and fiercely independent. He values his independence, and he'll fight to death for it. And fighting is second nature to an Afghan. That's history. So you can't change that. So that was held together by the King Zahir Shah through loose arrangements, but wise arrangements, which were consistent with the laws of the land. Those broke when the Soviets came in. They were further compounded when the Mujahideen were formed by the USA and Pakistan to fight the Soviets and drive them out. Then the Soviet-backed regime of Najibullah worsened the situation with communism, right? And then the Taliban grew through those mujahideen who were left over and left with no aim. Pakistan put them together and formed the Taliban, and they formed a life of their own. And then the factionism grew, and all that. So this nation will take a long time to become one. Afghanistan will become a long time to become a nation, right? As a people, I think they're going to see more turbulence. Right? This power sharing also, we don't know how it's going to go. If there's no power sharing deal, there'll be chaos. Even if there's power sharing deal, one will always try to outwit the other and take over. And everyone which I've discussed today, whether it is Pakistan, China, Iran, USA, Central Asian republics, India, and even Turkey and Russia, will always try to keep jockeying for power in whatever deal which comes through. And this whole place will remain unstable. It will be a long time before some kind of stability comes into Afghanistan. And we should be prepared for it.
And amidst all this, about 5,000 minorities are still trapped in around Kabul. They comprise of Sikhs, Hindus, perhaps a few Christians also of Indian origin. And they all need to come out of there safely. Our thoughts and prayers are with them. CAA allows them a path. However, there is still logistics that needs to be done. You need to go to the consulate, put your papers and get accepted and so on and so forth. I have no idea. If we have some updates on this, we'll keep you posted. General Ravi Shankar, I'd like us to come back and revisit this in maybe 2 to 4 weeks' time, where we can try and kind of see how things are headed. Certainly, you have given us a very, very clear understanding of the players, their motives, their intentions, their risks, and what's in it. And from what I can see, sir, India has the least risk associated with this because they've earned the goodwill of the people, and they can wait and see how things fall, and then perhaps do something that might help the people of Afghanistan. Certainly, that's where our sympathies lie. And thank you once again, General Ravi Shankar, for sharing your thoughts on this. We'll be back, viewers. Do send in your comments. Press on the bell button to subscribe. Thank you once again, sir. Namaskar.
Namaskar.